What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Sucker Free Sports Talk. I am your host, Sam James, and on this episode, we're going to be talking about the Bulls' first preseason game last night on Tuesday. We're going to be talking about the Fighting Illini football win over the Wisconsin Badgers. We're going to talk a little bit of Chicago baseball, some Cubs and Sox season wrap-up, but before we get into all that, we have to talk about the Bears' loss to the New York Football Giants. Bears lose 20-12. It was a bad game, ugly all around, offense, defense, special teams. But let's start with the offense. First half didn't look too bad. They started getting the ball downfield a little bit more. Had the long pass to Mooney. That looked good. They got in the red zone a few times but failed to punch the ball in. They got a little bit too predictable down there on the red zone. Run it on first and second down and then throw it on third down. That's too predictable. You got to mix it up a little bit more than that. A little bit of improvement from Fields. You saw it a little bit, but still sitting in the pocket too long, not getting rid of the ball too long, not trusting his eyes, not seeing the field all the way. So some of the same hindrances that are getting to Justin Fields are continuing. And then the play calling. I thought the play calling was too vanilla. They didn't mix it up enough. Too predictable, like I said. A lot of people want to blame Luke Getsy, and, I hear it. I get it too. Some of the play calling's pissing me off. But at the end of the day, the plays are what the plays are, and the players have to execute them, and right now they're not executing them enough. So they got down in the red zone, but failed to punch the ball in and had to settle for field goals. Now, the field goal kicker we got, Badgley, last week, he stepped up. He made all of his kicks, and that was good to see because Cairo Santos was out for personal reasons. So that kind of kept us in the game in the first half, the field goal kicking and the ability to get down the field. But then the defense. Defense played like shit in that first half. They failed to make the adjustments on the bootleg. If you watched the game, everybody saw it. Giants were running that misdirection, getting the Bears' D-line and linebackers going one way, and then Daniel Jones was just bootlegging off of it and getting wide open runs. I don't know why they didn't make the adjustments in game. It can happen once, it can happen twice, but after that, you got to make the adjustments, and Jaquan Brisker just kind of looked lost out there. He didn't know where the ball was. Everybody was going towards the running back, and Daniel Jones was just sneaking out of there wide open. That's inexcusable. You got to make better adjustments in there. And Matt Eberfleus, you're a defensive guy, and you're the head coach. And you let that happen 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the first half. Like I said, after the first or second time, you got to go over there and tell Brisker, listen, read your keys. And if you see Jones bail out of there, you got to follow him. Don't worry about the run game. I don't know why they're worried about Barkley. I mean, he had a good game. He ran good, but everybody on the team can't be flowing towards Saquon Barkley. Somebody's got to have contain. You got to read your keys, and they weren't doing that. And then the D-line. I mean, I said it last week. What could you expect coming in this year when you lose Akeem Hicks, you lose Eddie Goldman, you lose Khalil Mack? There's just a lack of talent on that D-line right now, and it's kind of showing its head with the running game the last 2 weeks, the run defense. Saquon Barkley absolutely torched them in that first half. And then by the time they started taking it away, it was a little too late. The counter off the bootleg, they would give it to Barkley up the middle. There was no stopping them. Linebackers weren't filling their gaps. D-line isn't creating enough gaps for those linebackers. There's just not enough talent on that D-line right now. And then the missed tackles. Missed tackles really hurt this team on Sunday. You had the screen pass where Nick Morrow read it like a book. He had Saquon Barkley in his eyes. He was going to tackle him, and then it was just a missed tackle. Barkley ended up turning it into like a 30, 40-yard gain there. That was bad to see. And then the missed tackle by Roquan Smith. Daniel Jones had gotten hurt. He hurt his ankle. And then Tyrod Taylor was in the game. Tyrod Taylor, Roquan Smith, one-on-one. I think most people are going to take Roquan Smith in that matchup 9 times out of 10. He missed a tackle, ended up getting the first down. You got to be better tackling, better disciplined on this defense. Guys like Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker, they just look lost out there right now. And they did put Kyler Gordon more of an outside corner in this game, but still, he's just not aggressive enough right now. He's getting blocked all the way downfield. He's not covering well. He had the bad pass interference. So the defense is going to have to be better. Second half adjustments weren't good enough. They ended up making the adjustments on that bootleg, and Brisker had a couple sacks on Jones, made him get rid of the ball a couple times. But it was a little too late. Bears couldn't score the ball. And the Giants, they did end up getting a couple field goals in that second half. They didn't get the touchdown, but it was just a little too late. Jackson had that interception in the second half towards the other goal line. That was good to see. I said last week, I think the Bears are 11-0 when Eddie Jackson gets an interception. Well, that streak is over. It's over for now because Bears didn't capitalize on that. I think they were 3-and-out after Eddie Jackson got that interception. And then it came down to the end of the game. Bears were driving there on one of their last drives with a little bit over 2 minutes left. Got down to 4th and 2, and Matt Eberfleus decides to punt it. I don't understand that. You see it all over the league. Guys punting it at midfield on short yardage, 4th downs. The numbers say go for it there. I don't know if these guys are just scared for their jobs, job security. I don't understand it. You don't punt there. When you're down 8 points on 4th and 2 at midfield with 2 minutes left in the game, you never punt there. I don't know what that was. They ended up punting it, getting it down in the Giants' territory, and the defense actually stepped up on that last drive, forcing a punt by the Giants. And then Bayless Jones dropped the punt. I mean, you kind of saw it from Bayless there. He was a little tentative all game. He didn't really get up to speed. It was his first game back, his first NFL game, so, you got to catch the ball there. Bottom line is catch the ball there. You're in to catch the ball. Another thing on that play, though, the Bears decided to set up for a return on that punt. You're down 8 points. You got the Giants deep in their end zone. You go after the block there. That's on the special teams coordinator and the head coach. You have to go after the block there instead of setting up the return because you're going to be back in your own territory anyways. So lack of coaching. Players didn't step up. In conclusion, I think people are going to say Justin Fields had a better game. And yeah, he did have a better game than what he had the first few weeks. But still, some of the same stuff that's bothering him is continuing to bother him. He's not seeing the field good enough. He's not getting rid of the ball. You can say O-line and all this, and yeah, the O-line's not the greatest, but he's got to get rid of the ball. And if you're not going to get rid of the ball within 1 to 2 seconds, you got to step up in the pocket or you got to get out of the pocket. And he's just not doing that right now. He's taking too many sacks. Coaching staff is going to have to be better. They're going to have to make better in-game adjustments. I mean, even the TV commentators, they were like, what are the Bears doing here? When are they going to stop this bootleg? It took them till halftime to figure it out. They're going to have to be better making those in-game adjustments. Luke Getsy's going to have to be a better play caller. They can't establish an identity right now. You see it. They'll go out one drive, they'll be I formation. The next drive, they'll be empty. The next drive, they'll be 2 tight ends. The next time, they'll be shotgun. Then they'll go back to the I formation. It's like, get an identity here. Right now, what you're best at is I formation and bootlegs and throwing the ball deep to Mooney. So get those 3 things going right before you get into all this shotgun, running the ball out of shotgun again. I don't understand it. Coaching staff's going to have to be better. And if Getsy's going to continue to struggle with this play calling, Eberfleus is going to have to step in and say, listen, put Blasphemy game in. We're running it out of the I formation. We're going to pound the ball. And bottom line is there just weren't too many positives this game. You came into this game 2-1. You're hoping that the Bears could come out 3-1. They should have came out 3-1. I think they were the better team, but they just failed to pound the ball in the end zone. When they were in the red zone, they couldn't score. Too many mistakes defensively. They should have came out of this 3-1, but instead the Giants went 3-1, and the Bears are 2-2 now. So, studs and duds from this week. Let's get into studs and duds. My stud number 1 is Darnell Mooney. Darnell stepped up. He made the catches when he had to. There was one drop there. I mean, I guess you could call it a drop. Kind of a bad ball from Fields. They call it a catch on the field, but then after review took it back. But Darnell stepped up this game. A lot of people have been clamoring for Darnell to step up. He's had a bad first few weeks of the season. He had the long catch. He was running good routes. He was catching the ball, so good to see a bounce-back game from Darnell Mooney. My second stud of the week, Michael Badgley. Like I said, the kicker they picked up off of waivers. He made all of his field goals. He had a couple long ones in there. But the Bears end up cutting him this week, and I guess they're anticipating Cairo Santos being back. I don't really know there. Cairo, he's good, and he's been our kicker for 2 years, but he doesn't have the strength in his leg. Maybe you could have ran with Badgley here, or at least kept him on the practice squad, but the Bears end up cutting Badgley. My third stud of the week, again, is Tevin Jenkins. Tevin didn't start the game the first 2 drives. They had Lucas Patrick out there. I'm saying to myself, what are they doing? I thought they were going to bench him all game. And then he comes out the 3rd drive. So I guess they were planning on doing some 2 drives for Patrick, 2 drives for Jenkins. I don't get what they're doing there. No other team in the league has ever done this where they're rotating offensive linemen. You put the best 5 guys you have out there, and right now, week after week, my eyes are telling me Tevin Jenkins is the best offensive lineman. Now, Whitehair got hurt in the second quarter, so then they were forced to leave Jenkins in for the remainder of the game. And he played well. A couple of those screen passes, he's out there leading the block. I love Tevin Jenkins. He's aggressive, he's physical, he's big, he's strong. Tevin Jenkins is my 3rd stud of the week. And my 4th stud of the week goes to Eddie Jackson. Eddie came up with a big pick. Unfortunately, the Bears failed to capitalize on it, but he tackled good all game too. And that's one of the main things people talk about Eddie is he going to be a tackler or not? And from what I can see, he had 1 missed tackle, but the rest of the game he's tackling pretty good. So pretty good to see from Eddie Jackson, plus the interception. Eddie is my 4th stud of the week. Now let's get into the duds. There was a lot of candidates for duds this week, but my first dud is the coaching staff, more specifically Matt Eberfleus. The adjustments you didn't make, that bootleg. I mean, how many times can I say it? You have to make the adjustments there. The 4th and 2 play call, not rushing the punt at the end of the game. Bottom line is he got outcoached. I really like the Giants coach over there, Brian Dable. He came in with a game plan, and he outcoached Matt Eberfleus. Bottom line, Matt Eberfleus, I like him, but you're going to have to be better than that. My second dud of the week, Jaquan Brisker. Jaquan, you looked lost out there all day, man. You didn't know where you were. Second half, you kind of turned it around a little bit. Now, like the next gen stats, the PFF stats, they have Jaquan as one of the better safeties in the league right now, actually, top 10 safety. But in this game, you kind of saw he's going to need some more learning, some more coaching. He looked lost out there, didn't know where the ball was. So Jaquan is my second dud of the week. My third dud of the week is Dante Pettis, the wide receiver. The 1 ball he had all game, it was in the 4th quarter. Justin Fields put a good ball on him, a back shoulder ball, right in his hands, and he dropped it. If you're going to be on this team, if you're going to be a starting wide receiver, you're the number 2, number 3 wide receiver on this team right now, you got to catch those balls. That was a big moment in the game when he dropped that. Dante Pettis, you're my 3rd dud of the week. And my 4th dud of the week is going to be Braxton Jones, the left tackle. Missed blocks all day. I know he's a rookie. People are going to cut him some slack there. He had the missed block on the Justin Fields fumble. Now going back, looking at the tape there, he did miss the block. He opened up like a gate, let the defensive end right in, and he got to Fields, but it kind of looks like Fields just lost the ball. Like it flew out of his hand right before that. I don't know. It's kind of hard to see whether the defensive end got a hand on him or not, but still, Braxton Jones, you're going to have to be better. He is my 4th dud of the week. So that's the studs and duds of the week. Let's get into the Week 5 outlook against the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota on Sunday. Vikings are coming off a close game against the Saints in London. So they're coming back off a trip from London. Let's see if that affects the team a little bit. Sometimes when you go overseas, your time schedule gets messed up. Your sleep schedule gets messed up. It was a close game. Saints aren't very good. They're playing Andy Dalton. I think we all know about Andy Dalton here in Chicago from last year. Vikings offense is good. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins. That offense is good, but their defense does have some holes. But if the Bears want a chance in this game, we need Jalen Johnson back from injury. He's been dealing with a quad injury. We need Jalen back to run with Justin Jefferson because the guys they got out there right now, Kyler Gordon, Kindle Vildor, they're not going to be able to stop him. He's probably the best, top 2, if not the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. So look out for Justin Jefferson this Sunday. Adam Thielen, he did look like he hurt his calf in that game against the Saints. He was kind of limping all over the field. He did stay in the game, but let's see if that kind of lingers over here into Week 5. Ultimately, I think the Bears lose this game. I hate to say it. There's just a different level of talent right now. Vikings, they're in it to win it right now. Bears, they look like a couple years away from being good, I hate to say. But you never know. It is the NFL. Bears have to establish a passing game here. They have to get Darnell Mooney going down the sideline like they did. That's one of Justin Fields' strong points is those down-the-field throws. They got to establish that passing game to counter the run game. And they have to establish an identity offensively. Get in the I formation, run the ball. Maybe Montgomery's back this week. You still got Khalil Herbert. They have to establish that run identity, but have a passing game to go off of that to counter that. So that's the Bears. Let's counter into some college football, some Fighting Illini football. The Illinois Fighting Illini beat the Wisconsin Badgers in Madison. It was great to see. I liked Illinois going into this game. I thought they were going to win this game. Wisconsin's kind of been having a down year here, but a lot of people did not pick Illinois to win this game. They came in with the passing game, opened it up. Tommy DeVito, that passing game, got some long balls going to Bryant, and then eventually in that second half, they got the run game going like they always do. Chase Brown, watch out for this guy. Watch out for him for the Doak Walker Award for the best running back in college football, because right now I think he's leading by rushing yards by like 200-300 yards. That's how good of a season he's having right now. If you haven't seen Chase Brown, go ahead and watch this guy. He's dynamite. Wisconsin was so disgusted with that loss, they ended up firing their head coach, Paul Chryst. I mean, that's you kind of see what they think of Illinois over there. I mean, they hate Brett Bielema, the Illinois head coach, kind of because he left them hanging when he went to Arkansas years ago. So Wisconsin was so disgusted with it, they fired their head coach. But now you got Illinois in this Big Ten West. The chances are wide open here for them to take this division. They got Iowa next week. Now, Iowa is probably the team that's standing in between Illinois becoming the Big Ten West champions right now. There's a lot of season left. But Iowa isn't as good as years past. The game is in Champaign next week at 6 o'clock. I'm looking forward to this game. I think Illinois has a really good chance of winning this game. Iowa is a physical team, so Illinois is going to have to match that physicality, but I like Illinois. And watch out for Illinois football going forward. All right, let's transition into some Chicago baseball. I was going to talk some Chicago baseball here, but, I mean, really, who gives a shit? I mean, it's kind of boring, to be honest. You got the two teams right now, the Cubs. The Cubs are who we thought they were, man.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
I mean, mediocre baseball team. They have won some games in a row here towards the end of the season. They're not a playoff team. Kind of boring. Honestly, like, my falling out with the Cubs has kind of been, they're just all about the revenue. They're not about the fans. To go to a game now, you need like $300-400 to bring the whole family. Beer, hot dogs, it adds up. It's like as much as a football game now. I'll pay that much to go to a Bears game, but I'm not paying that much to go to a Cubs game. And then the TV thing. I've been watching Cubs games since I was a young kid. I mean, I knew everybody in the farm system. I knew everybody on the team. And now they make this marquee network, and it's like, I got YouTube TV. I don't have Comcast. I don't get the games. So I've kind of fallen out of favor here with the Cubs. That being said, you know, they had a couple guys this year, Morel, Suzuki. Those are some of the guys going forward. They picked up Stroman, pitcher. He had a decent year, up and down. Not a lot of guys to hang your hat on, though. They do have a decent farm system from what I hear. Some young pitchers, Justin Steele, Jordan Wicks, Caleb Killian. We'll see how that turns out. I mean, they don't have the farm system that they had in years past. I mean, 7-8 years ago when they had guys like Jorge Soler, Baez, these were household names that you knew were going to be studs once they came up. Brennan Davis, he's like their number one hitting prospect, first baseman, big guy. He looks pretty good, but like I said, I mean, it's not like it was 7 or 8 years ago when all these prospects were household names. Like I said, I've kind of fallen out of favor with the Cubs. We'll see if I get back into fandom with them. And then you got the White Sox. Massively underachieved this year. Everybody wants to put the blame on Tony La Russa, but he's a manager. How much does a manager really matter in baseball? It's not like a coach or anything. It's not a strategic game like that. I mean, it matters. But everybody wants to blame La Russa. They want to blame injuries. But bottom line is the players, they just underachieved. Guys like Moncada, Robert, they didn't add up to what they were supposed to be. They weren't what the White Sox hoped they would be. Guys were injured, I get that. Jimenez missed some time. Robert missed some time. Kopech missed some time. Giolito missed some time. Yeah, all that. But at the bottom line is this team was supposed to be a World Series contender. Didn't pan out for them. They're going to look for a new manager this offseason. I guess they're hoping that'll change things for them. We'll see. Like I said, how much does a manager really matter? I mean, they brought La Russa in here after a hiatus from baseball, and he kind of looked like he lost some connect with the team, lost some connect with the baseball game as it's played today. I don't know. I mean, he's a historic manager. He's a legend. He should have been good enough, but the team ended up firing him after this year. So, you know, I think a lot of fans want to put the blame on him, but how much blame can you put on a manager? All right, this is a new segment we're going to be starting here. This segment is called Shit That Pisses Me Off.
I hate this fucking shit.
I'm not an angry guy, but there's shit in every day that can piss a person off, and this is shit that pisses me off. Number one, after I stayed up, I got home from work at 7 a.m. I stayed up to watch the Bears game. The Bears pissed me off. The Bears lost, and then I stayed up longer to watch the Packers game. And I don't care what anybody says. If you're a Bears fan, you root for the Packers to lose. I don't know what Packers fans think about that. I know a lot of them think the Vikings are their rival. That's BS. The Bears and the Packers are rivals. So I stayed up to watch that game. Patriots were without their quarterback, Mac Jones. They had Brian Hoyer out there. He got hurt to start the game. And still the Patriots controlled that game. Going into the fourth quarter, they were winning. They had the lead. They ended up giving away that lead, tying the game. It went to overtime. And then Aaron Rodgers turns into Aaron Rodgers. He closes that game with about 4 minutes left, get the Packers into field goal position, and they make the field goal. I mean, it's more of the same here. That shit pisses me off, having to watch the Packers close out games and the Bears' inability to close out games in one day. That's some shit that pisses me off.
Man! Fuck, man! Man, that shit pissed me off, man.
Second thing that pisses me off. Now, this isn't sports related. I mean, we can't talk about sports 24/7, so let's digress from that for a little bit. The grocery store checkout line. I mean, I think they're starting to push people towards the self-checkout. When I go to the grocery store, I don't want to check out my own groceries. I mean, I do enough work. I have my own job. I don't need to put groceries in bags. And they're pushing people to start using those self-checkouts by putting the oldest employee in the store as the checkout lady. Now, they only have one lane. If you go to the grocery store now, they only have one lane for people to check out your own groceries. And they put the oldest employee there who can barely do it. And then the person bagging is usually some mentally deficient person. I mean, I don't want to be mean. I'm glad they have jobs, but it's just all part of the process to push you to check out your own groceries. And it's part of the problem in America, I believe, is that technology is making things worse and harder and stupider. I don't want to check out my own groceries. I want somebody else to check out my groceries. Start opening up more lines at the grocery checkout. That's the second thing that pisses me off.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for shit that pisses me off. I'm sure we'll have a few more coming into next week. Before we end the show, though, we have to talk about the Bulls' first preseason game last night, Tuesday night. I know it's preseason. You can't put a lot of stock into that. But the starters played for most of the first 2 quarters, and it kind of looks like more of the same for the Bulls. Like I said, it's pretty much the same exact roster coming into the season. You only have a few new guys. And you saw some of the same stuff. I mean, offense is stagnant. They come out hot, but then they get stagnant. Levine's kind of doing his bounce around thing. Doesn't really know what he's doing. You know, I don't know what it is with Zach. He's a good player. He's athletic. He's very skilled, but he relies on athleticism and skill. He's never going to outsmart you. He's never going to outwit you. And that's part of the problem with Zach. He's kind of just bouncing around out there, getting his shots when he can. Doesn't really know how to play with other guys. DeRozan, he's going to do his thing. You know, they started to get Vooch a little bit more involved in the post. I like that. But then Pat Williams, he wasn't aggressive enough. Zion kind of controlled that matchup between him and Pat Williams. There was a couple plays I liked out of Pat, but he's going to have to be more consistently aggressive. Consistent aggressiveness from Pat Williams. He kind of looks like a sad clown out there. I don't know what's going on there. If you look at his face, he kind of just looks like a sad clown. But, you know, more of the same, stagnant offense. They were down like 20 in that first half. Pelicans are a good team, but if the Bulls are going to want to be a team up there with them, they're going to have to play good as well, and they just aren't there right now. And I think the Pelicans are just a step above them. Second unit guys came in that second half. One guy to look out for, Dalen Terry. The aggressiveness, the enthusiasm that this guy plays with is dynamite. I really like Dalen Terry. I think he had like 11 points. He only played a few minutes. Watch out for him taking some minutes. Dragic did not look good last night. Kobe White, he only played a few minutes. I think that's a telltale sign of what Billy Donovan's going to look to do with this team. Watch out for Dalen Terry taking some of those minutes. He's going to be a fan favorite. Guy plays with uncanny amount of enthusiasm out there. Really good to see from Dalen Terry. And then one of my other favorite players, Javonte Green. This guy plays with energy. This guy dunks the ball. Get Javonte in the dunk contest. All over the court. He can make threes. He can rebound. He's a shorter guy that can play the four, but I really love Javonte Green and the attitude he comes in day out. Watch out for Javonte Green and Dalen Terry taking some of these second unit minutes. And if guys like Kobe White and Pat Williams and whoever doesn't want to come out aggressive, then you can sit your ass on the bench. So it's only the first preseason game. We'll see how they look going forward. There's a few more preseason games till we get into the regular season. Like I said, next week or so, I want to do a full Bulls season outlook for you guys, talk about the new guys, talk about the draft picks, and what to expect going forward for the Bulls. All right, before we wrap it up, we got to get into my picks of the week. Last week was another bad week for me. I went 0-2, and then the other game I had to push on the Baltimore game. Baltimore ended up losing by 3. It was a 3-point spread. I lost the Jacksonville game. I lost the Cleveland game. I don't know what Cleveland's doing there. They lost that game to Atlanta. So not going so good for right now for me in my picks. But with that being said, I'm going to stick to the courage of my convictions, and I'm going to give you 3 more picks this week. And we're going to go 3-0. My first pick of the week is the New York Football Giants, plus 7.5 in Green Bay. We all saw New York last week against the Bears. I really like Brian Dable. I really like that offense. We'll see what happens with Daniel Jones. He hurt his ankle there, and then Tyrod Taylor kind of went out of the game with a concussion or something. I think you'll see Daniel Jones back. I like the Giants. I like their offensive scheme. Green Bay isn't worthy of a 7.5-point spread right now. I mean, they could barely beat the Patriots with a third-string quarterback. And I'm not just talking shit about Green Bay. I honestly don't think they're the team that they were the past few years. I like the New York Giants here, plus 7.5 in Green Bay. My second team is the Buffalo Bills, minus 14 at home against the Steelers. Steelers look bad. They ended up benching Trubisky. I was disappointed to see that. You guys know I love Mitch. They put Kenny Pickett in there. He had 3 picks. Steelers just aren't a good team right now. I thought they'd be good this year, but they just aren't. Defensively, offensively, offensive line sucks. Buffalo, watch out for the Bills. I think they're going to turn it on here. Josh Allen, that offense, that defense, I think they pushed this spread to 21 points possibly. So I like the Buffalo Bills minus 14. My third game of the week is the Philadelphia Eagles. I thought I had the Eagles last week with that Jaguars pick. Jaguars were up 14-0, and then the Eagles just completely turned that game around in the second quarter and second half. Ended up blowing out the Jaguars. I really like the Eagles this year. They're 4-0. Arizona, it's in Arizona. I don't really like the Cardinals this much. Kyler Murray, that coaching staff, they just seem a little lost to me. They aren't that good. I like the Eagles here, minus 5. So those are my 3 picks of the week. Guys, if you like this video, make sure you comment. Let me know what you think about it. Like this video and hit that subscribe button. And remember, if you're going to talk sports, always keep it sucker free.